I'm Tom motherfucking Kench, bitch, and I'm the newest member of KDA.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Runeterrable Radio. I am the Blevins. Joining me, as always, is Saucy Mailman. What's up, buddy?
Oh, hey, how's it going, dude?
It's going great. It's going good. We got some new stuff. We got a new patch that everybody loves.
Yeah,
Not
I've not
close.
seen a single bit of negativity.
I
so
have
that's
not
a
seen
breath of fresh air.
Yeah, I have not seen a single negative comment whatsoever about the new patch and its veracity. Everyone thinks it's perfect, which is
Everyone
great.
loves it.
And that's the whole episode. Everybody, thank you for
yeah.
listening. No, kidding.
And that's it.
That was it.
So we were just briefly talking about before we went live. We're coming up on our anniversary.
That is true. We are coming.
Which is exciting.
We are coming up on our anniversary. This weekend would have been 1 year, and we probably would have met in person if, COVID, etc.
Fucker.
Yeah, COVID killed BlizzCon. That was the straw that broke the camel's back, not all of the other horrific things that have happened since then. It was BlizzCon getting postponed and moved to virtual that really caused everyone to take this seriously. But yeah, no, this weekend, which would have been Halloween weekend, is generally when BlizzCon goes off. First weekend of November, generally, sometime around there. So I think it was November 4th or 6th last year. So yeah, that was 1 year since we
Which is crazy.
even knew who each other was.
Yep. It's been a long road. So that was a cool thing. How's your week going, my dude? How's your week going?
Good. It's been fun. Did the whole fight night thing, and also casted an event with Nola, friend of the podcast, Nola Gold. They did a Team IQ team event, which was actually kind of cool, where essentially you had like 3 players and they each played one deck, and they're all in the sort of hive mind call where they could help each other, which was really cool. I mean, from a spectator perspective, it was essentially just a regular game, but there's 3 people on the call, and it was pretty fun. So,
I always liked. It reminds me of like when they had the collegiate Hearthstone.
yes.
Like I loved watching those.
Mhm.
It was just like really fun, just seeing a whole room of. I think it was like 3 people.
Yeah.
Just like bouncing ideas. Then they like
Mhm.
one guy's gonna make a play, and then the other one's like no, and like slaps his hand. That's what I like.
Yeah, that was fun, and so that one was good. Lot of notable names in that event too, so that was a fun one to cast. And I feel like there was something else I was gonna bring up, but I completely forgot it.
I don't know.
Did I do anything else that was exciting or fun? Been playing a lot. That's good. I hit diamond again. I have been like try-harding more than I usually do, which has been fun actually. I didn't think that the grind would be. I thought it does put a lot of stress on me. That's all towards myself, where it's like I'll go and I'll have a session. It was really bad at the end of last season when I pushed the master, because it was like, for whatever, and like it doesn't matter, right? It matters a little bit now, but it definitely didn't matter before, where it's like it doesn't really matter if I get master or not. Like,
I think it was also because you tried to do like the whole thing in a weekend.
I did. I went from like plat. I needed to go from like plat 4, or no, I think I hit diamond pretty early last season, and then I was like, I'll just get it later. And then I'm like, oh crap, the new set is coming out, which means oh crap. So
in a week,
yeah, I had like multiple 10+ hour sessions where I was just like playing, and when you do a 10-hour session and you end up like minus 40 LP, it really weighs on you. Like when that is your stated goal.
No, that's rough.
Yeah, but I did end up getting there with scouts last season, and now I hit diamond, and it's now is the best time. Right when you hit that threshold and you get to diamond 4 or plat 4 or whatever, it's like I can play whatever. If I lose, who cares? I don't have anything to lose right now. But now, soon there will be LP to lose, at least hopefully. I hope I don't lose it, but there's going to be even more reason to play because we got this new KDA event, Saucy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's sweet. There's there's new cards, but first, what's your favorite one?
What is my favorite one? So I think the one that people are talking about being the most competitively viable is the Feel the Rush, the Freljord one, 12 mana. Summon two different random champions from your hand and deck, and then raise their stats up to 10/10. I'm assuming because it is technically it is actually ambiguous how it's worded. It's raise their stats. It is raising their stats up to 10/10, meaning that if they're a 12/12, it won't go down to 10/10. Not like it can be raised an amount up to 10/10, not a random amount up to 10/10.
No, so if they're Teemo, which is how
Right.
I'm playing this card,
Oh yeah.
they become a 10/10.
Oh yeah, people are talking about this replacing War Mothers. It's like you're thinking too small. Making a Tryndamere a 10/10, who cares about that? You need to make a 1/1. It's the same thing. This is a completely irrelevant tangent that I'm going to go on anyway.
No,
have you ever been asked the question, what would you rather fight 4 or 100? Would you rather fight like 5 horse-sized ducks or 100 duck-sized horses?
Yeah.
Well, you always choose the small the small horses, right? Like it's all because a smaller animal, if it keeps its proportional strength, if it gets bigger, it's going to be massively strong. Like if you took an ant and made it a human size, it would be able to destroy everything, right? If it kept its proportionality.
It would end the world.
So this is the same. This is the same thing. Would you rather fight one slightly bigger Tryndamere or one massively, like 10 times larger Teemo? It's like, oh man, I definitely want the Teemo for sure.
Yeah. It's funny because so they were first revealed, and I told everyone that was my favorite card, and people thought I was crazy. And then towards the end of the day, people agreed with me because everyone was looking at the other cards of who cares about those. I'm like, all I care about, I'm going to be making gigantic Teemos.
Yeah.
And it's going to be great.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for that. I probably derailed if you actually were going to talk about something.
No. Well, I think that's the one that it seems to be the go-to for most competitively viable. What I will say is that Go Get It, the 5-mana fast recall an ally to summon an exact ephemeral copy in its place, reduces cost to 0 this round. That is the perfect type of degenerate, elusive enabler type card that I like to play. It is a little bit expensive, but that is certainly, I think, could be really fun in that type of deck. But the other one is Out of the Way, which is a 5-mana slow spell. For the rest of the game, allied buffs, except for barrier, are permanent, and then you draw 1 card. That's kind of crazy because that applies to Spell Shield.
Yep.
Which I'm assuming, even if the Spell Shield gets procced, it just stays? So, like, you no longer, or is it, I think that...
No, it would
it's
still
not
go
how...
away.
Oh, okay.
It changes all of the gives to grants.
Oh, okay. Well, then I'm much less excited about that card.
Let me throw you one. Let me throw you one here.
Let's hear it.
This is what I'm theory crafting. There's a card called Give It All, 8 mana, Piltovian card. Raise all allies' power and health to the highest power or health among allies.
Okay.
Grant all allies allied keywords.
Okay.
So if you have like one big dude and a bunch of little dudes, it makes the little dudes the size of the big dude, right? So Piltover and Zon is a region that has a very card that's near and dear to my heart.
Mm-hmm.
That's Pursuit of Perfection.
Oh.
I want to have a big old cataclysm and like all these shitty little tokens that all just become 30/30 overwhelms. That's the dream that I want.
It's so irrelevant, but I love it so much.
I want 6 30/30 overwhelms. You can't stop me.
Yeah,
So that's gonna happen.
that is really good. It's really fun. I mean, that card makes me feel. It makes me think of oh, what's the card in Bilge that makes units power and health equal to every
Mind
spell.
Meld?
Mind meld. Yeah, it feels like a different mind meld, which is cool.
Yeah.
It feels very similar to Mind Meld, actually, but obviously does a little bit different. But that actually is kind of interesting. If they printed cards that were effectively the same in two different regions, you could actually kind of do that, as it gives you multiple copies of it, but also like access in different decks. Because it's like, well, if I had a 2/1 elusive, whenever an ally enters, it gets +1/+0. I would play that in a region that's not Ionia. Like if it was a Targon card, I'd play Ionia Targon and get multiple copies, but I'd also maybe play Targon Freljord elusives or something like that, which could be interesting. I did not plan on going on that tangent, so I'm not going to go any deeper than that. Just something to think about.
I'm okay with this tangent.
We might as well talk about the last card in the KDA package, the Go Hard. 1 mana Shadow Isles spell, slow spell. Drain 1 from a unit and shuffle 2 copies of me into your deck. Once you've cast me 3 times, transform all copies of me everywhere into Pack Your Bags. Oh, I actually saw Rack Your Bags too. I now see why you saw it.
It looks like Rack Your Bags.
It does look like Rack Your Bags. It's right near the Shadow Isles symbol. It looks like Rack. And then Pack Your Bags is 1 mana slow spell. Deal 5 to all enemies and the enemy nexus, and then transform all copies of me everywhere back to Go Hard. I want this card to be good, but it has slow on it, which makes me less like it a little bit less.
That's like the biggest problem with it. It's super cool. It does some different things.
Mm-hmm.
One interesting thing about it is it does kind of prevent mill if you're ever worried about that.
That is a really good point. Yeah.
So that could be relevant, especially since it's in Chateau Isles, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, it's kind of like the old
bags.
Rack your bags, because you're not going to get decked. I just don't see this card replacing Unspeakable Horror or Vile Feast in the decks that want that type of effect. Now, we certainly could see a different type of deck where you would maybe want this. The problem is that like the going off with the card, you don't even like get to craft Exodia, where it's like you cast this 3 times and then it's like, well, I just hope to draw the Pack Your Bags over and over again, but not really able to do that because you only get to do it once.
We need Gadget Zan Auctioneer from Hearthstone.
Yes.
When you cast a spell, you draw a card.
Yeah, when you cast a spell, you draw a card, but then also like it needs to somehow not transform back into Go Hard after you cast the Pack Your Bags. Like I want it to just stay Pack Your Bags. But
I guess with Karma, it's good. That does 10.
That's
half of 20.
Well, no, I don't even think it works like that, because if I'm reading it, it would transform back on the stack, I would imagine. It says everywhere.
Probably.
It says transform all copies everywhere. I don't know. I mean, it helps you. Yeah. It helps you get the second one, I guess. I don't know. It's kind of interesting. I could see this being played in a spooky Karma type deck. That would be interesting. But
I think the card is cool.
Yeah.
There's been some really bad, not that there's ever bad takes, but some people
I've never heard
this is just
one.
like strictly better Vile Feast. I'm like, it's a slow spell, so not really.
Yeah, it doesn't allow you to Yeah, it doesn't allow you to react. You can't be reactive in combat. And I think, that's really just a really big unlock for a lot of people when you're getting better at the game. It's like you really just want to be reactive almost at all points in time, even if you're an aggressive deck. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, I really don't want a slow spell, even though it's 1 mana. It does a little bit, like, it's all right. If this could go face, I would consider it way more, because then it's like, a better Blade's Edge, but this is like bad. Like, the secondary effect is worse than Vile Feast, and it's slow. It's way worse than Unspeakable Horror, which can also go face, and this is slow. I think it'll be a cool card to build around, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe Jay Medarda, go hard.
No.
You can target your own units. You can target your own units. There's your gadgets and auctioneer.
Yeah, that's perfect. I wish this was just drain 1 from anything, not from a unit. That'd be sick.
Yeah,
like
I
how,
do.
Unspeakable Horror
Mhm.
is you can hit the Nexus.
Yeah.
I've died from that so many times, and it makes me mad.
It has done the last point of damage for me when I'm playing a Ledros Atrocity deck quite a bit.
I'm always like, oh, they don't. Okay, if they have like a get excited
Yeah.
I lose. Oh no, it's 3 Unspeakable Horrors. Like, same thing. It's like always
Oof.
something like that, a situation like that, and then I just cry.
Ooh, Chad is bringing up, if we give Jay tough, then you keep targeting it with go hard, and then you keep. If there was a card that reduced the cost of slow spells, then I think we're on to something here.
How are we gonna give Jay tough in Piltover and Shadow Isles though?
Okay, let's see. Well, we'll let the
Singleton Gauntlet
deck. We figured it out, and it makes it even better because you draw all of your 1-ofs. Oh, that's actually a good segue because we had the Singleton Gauntlet over the weekend for the Prime Glory. Congratulations to everyone who got their Prime Glory this week. I was not one of them, and I have a funny story of how dumb I am and why I didn't get it.
Carry on.
Okay.
I am now prepared for your story.
Yeah, so there's two. I'm putting the blame in two places. First and foremost, on me. No. First and foremost is on me. Yeah. No. Definitely my fault. I just, for whatever reason, when I was building the deck, forgot that I could do 3 regions. So I only did 2, which is really kind of dumb and ruined the fun of it and made my deck worse. But so that's where the massive amount of blame comes from me. The second blame is that I was thinking that this gauntlet was going to be like the standard gauntlet. Make 3 decks, ban 1, play best of 1.
Mm-hmm.
It was not that. It was play just a regular old bring 1 deck, best of 1. So I spent 20 minutes building 3 decks, which again, I built 2 region decks because I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
And then when I'm getting ready to put my decks into the queue, I'm like, okay, let me queue these up. And I built a Degenerate Elusives deck. I built a Degenerate Scouts deck, and then I built a very mediocre, like almost mono Demacia with like just like aggressive Targon cards. That was going to be my worst deck, but I never planned on playing it because whatever one of the 2 Degenerate decks got banned, I would just play the other one every time.
Degenerate deck, yeah.
So I'm going to queue up my decks, and of course, you know what one I queue in first. It's the worst one. The Demacia, the mono Demacia deck. That's actual garbage. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna queue this, and then my game is like, it's like finding match. I'm like, wait, no. I need to put my other decks in. I didn't put. Oh, this is just single deck, isn't it? Oh boy. Long story short, I did not get my Prime Glory this week.
Strange.
It was
weird that happens that way.
Yeah, it was not good. It was not good. Did you play any of the Singleton Gauntlet this weekend?
I made a deck for it. I built Boat Tribal.
Okay.
just all of the boats, but I didn't actually end up playing it. So
Wait, did you get Jaw Hunters in there?
yeah, Jol Hunters is in there.
Yeah.
I think it was
That's the most important
it was
boat to
what,
me.
Freljord, Bilgewater,
Yeah.
Noxus, I think.
Okay. Wait.
Swain's boat.
Oh yeah, Swain's boat. Duh. I'm
So
like,
Swain's boat,
the Dreadway and
Sejuani's boat,
yeah.
and then the Gangplank and Misfortune's boats.
Yep.
It was pretty. I mean, the deck was cool. All 0 games I played with it, I won all of them. Also lost all of those,
Ugh,
but
rip.
you know, it's fine.
Rip,
It's fine.
rip. Well, I don't know. I kind of like, so I'm pushing a little bit hard to qualify for the event, the set event. I have one Prime Glory that I got from the Standard Gauntlet 2 weeks ago. I did not get the one this week. I think there's more. You get more attempts than there are possible Prime Glories, so it's not the worst. If you're behind right now, they just count as a buy essentially in the last chance gauntlet. So if you are looking to do that, you can still, it's still worth it to try. You're not like irreparably behind.
No reason not to. It's not like if you miss one, you're just screwed. Like, oh, I'm out forever.
Right. It's like, oh, I missed my shot. It'll be a little bit harder if you don't get the Prime Glories, but it's not the end of the world.
Plus, that's just a good name, Prime Glory.
Yeah, I really like that they like very quickly made a like little mini competitive ecosystem, but it's not the whole. It's only around for a little bit. It's only on the weekends. At least it's only been on the weekends thus far, and it's like you play like super competitive if you want for a short amount of time, and then it's back to regular Runeterra. I really like it, and it's like here's a buy to an event that is actually going to be relevant. So, I've been really enjoying that as well as like pushing on ladder. I think if you're a master level player or have been close to master, I think it's going to be easier to get top 700 master than it will be to spike the Prime Glory, or it will at least be more consistent to do that.
Yeah. Like if you're already getting top finishes anyways.
Yeah. For NA, I don't know. I think in the first season of Master, there was like 1,300 people, if I recall correctly. I could be thinking wrong in Master.
I think it was less than 1,500.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was less than. For some reason, 1,300 is sticking in my mind as a number that I remember seeing at some point.
It's a fact.
It's 100%. 100%. 1,372 is the exact number.
It was the exact number, and
not actually the exact number. Please check. Please check for details. But so yeah, I mean, if you are able to get master and play a little bit and get a little bit of LP, I think it'll probably be a little bit more competitive because people are obviously going to be pushing for top 700. But I think that in general will be more easy and it'll be less. As long as you don't wait till the last minute like I did last season, it'll be less stressful to do that because if you've ever, okay. We've got Emotional in chat, friend of the podcast, has been on the podcast, is a top master player. I think last I checked, he was top 10 right now. He's in the chat, says top 700 master last season was a 12-person tie at 43 LP. So that's what? 3 wins after you get master? So I think that's a little bit, it'll probably be a little bit more competitive than that just because that carrot is on the end of the stick now. Yep. Like I technically was in Master last season, but didn't play after Master because I only had like a day to play. But
you hit it like 4 hours left and you stayed up for 78 hours straight. And
but
you needed to sleep.
I also didn't need to play. Like I would have pushed, or I would have at least tried to push the 43 LP. So I think a lot of people are probably going to do that. So it'll probably be more than normal. But if you haven't ever played in a high stakes, essentially 3-game set, that's where your palms start getting sweaty. When if you have all 5 Prime Glories, you essentially need to win two games, right? But if you lose, you need to win 2 before you lose 2. Although that's not even technically true because if you lose on the last game, you don't get in. So I would rather just have like the LP and sit on it than then have to like
Gamble.
spike 2 wins. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
you got to do what you got to do, but I think that the master is going to be master's ladder is going to be a little bit easier to qualify, if I had to guess.
Probably, yeah.
Okay, Saucy. We talked about KDA cards. We talked about other stuff. Let's talk about the patch, because this is what people have been a little ornery about.
Do we have enough time to go through it? Because like I'm gonna have to break out my spreadsheet. There's a lot to cover.
That's true. We're gonna, if we have to cut it short, we will. But we're gonna go over every. We're gonna go.
The main points at least.
No, we're going through every single card change in the patch, and I'm just gonna rattle through them right now, and then we'll go over it. Okay.
Yep.
So
right.
at the very top, we have Lee Sin, hotly debated and contested card. Cost going up to 5, health going up to 5 on the unflip side, and then cost, of course, still 5, and health going up to 6 on the flip side. On the leveled up side, Make It Rain is going from a 2 cost up to a 3 cost, and that's it. I wonder if there's a single person who's listening to the podcast right now that was like, "Oh man, I can't wait! I didn't see the notes.
Yeah,
I don't keep up. I only listen to Runeterrable Radio for my information." I wonder if anyone got baited by that.
Guaranteed. At least 13 people.
Okay, if you are one of the 13, let us know in Discord, discord.me/Runeterrable Radio, and just put just in the general chat, tag me and or Saucy, and just put a picture of Braum in there.
Yeah,
that's
perfect. Love that.
And we'll know what it means.
That'll be our.
And everyone
it's
who
our
listened
code.
will know what it means. But all the people in Discord that didn't listen are gonna be like, "What are all these pictures of Braum here
What
for?"
are all these Brahms popping?
Why are people posting pictures of Braum in here? Not enough of Tom motherfucking Kench.
Okay, and if you didn't get baited, you can post Tom Kent.
There you go. We're just gonna let's flood the Discord with either
ruin
pictures
our own
of
Discord.
Braum or Tom Kench.
Perfect.
Absolutely love it. But yeah, Saucy, initial thoughts on the massive number of changes.
I will say both. Now, I'm gonna say both changes I think are positive. Whether or not those are the final changes I would make to the cards. I mean, I think Lee Sin is. I would probably change some stuff about him, but there's a thing we need to talk about with this patch, because this patch here is not supposed to be the major balance patch, correct?
Right. Correct. That is correct.
So yeah. So basically, this is not supposed to be a big balance patch. They
Right.
just needed to put these changes in because Lee Sin has become somewhat of a problem for a lot of people. He's a hotly contested, debated card that gets certain people heated. And same with Make It Rain. Those are two very emotional, taxing cards on people. So they specifically said, hey, these are 2 hot fixes we just wanted to roll out in this patch cycle. But the big patch is 1.4, which is going to have a splattering of champion changes.
Right. Yeah, and I did tweet this out because Riot Dovadigas did comment on I think it was one of Mogwai's tweets, and was just kind of like, hey, this isn't supposed to be the big patch. When you say only 2 things got changed, it really kind of discounts the amount of work that people went above and beyond to do to sort of provide a temporary fix. So that's all we can really say about that in that sense. So before you get your pitchforks and your baseball bats, maybe just think about that real quick. But in and of itself, so outside of that, just looking at the changes, I will try to look at this objectively, which is hard because I love Lee Sin. I love the card. I like the deck. I've loved playing it. It is definitely very strong. And I've said, even when it was 4 mana, that he could definitely use a nerf. This is a burf or a nuff, I guess, a nerf buff, because he is getting that health, which is definitely helpful. It's not like it's irrelevant that he got an extra health. And the 5 cost is technically a nerf, but
yeah, it's
not that relevant.
it's kind of like a cop-out change, which I'm not a big fan of. Like the nerf mana cost is relevant. Like if you
Yeah.
remember, obviously it's not 1-to-1, but when he was 6 mana, he saw literally 0 play. When he
Yeah.
at 4 mana, he's too strong.
Mhm.
5 could be all right. I think the mana might be all right.
Yeah.
He didn't need the health increase. I feel like if they would have just done the mana change, less people would be upset. But then also like increasing his health makes it feel, wait, I wanted this to be nerfed. Now
Yeah.
it's getting a change.
Yeah, I think basically,
It's
yeah,
tough.
it is really tough. Oh wait, let's give Lee Sin tough. There you go.
Oh,
Actually though,
overwhelm.
what if he gained tough and said, I'm not gonna try to theorycraft the changes.
I have the perfect change for it.
Okay.
I have the perfect change for the
Let's
card.
hear it.
So you add a line of text, just leave him how he is. Like leave him exactly 4 mana, keep it how it is. Add this. There's a line of text at the bottom that says, "If I gain overwhelm, obliterate me."
There you
All
go.
the problems.
Or
He doesn't change any of the decks I like to play with him because I
Right.
was playing Teemo Lee Sin and
Okay.
Diana Lee Sin were my 2 favorite ones.
Okay.
And I was just using him as a board control machine,
Yeah.
not for an overwhelm combo killer.
Yeah. I honestly, if somehow I think that would actually be, I mean, that specific change, obviously a little bit memey, but I do think that if they somehow removed, like if they made it so that he can't, like if they made it so that if the kick goes off, he gets removed from combat, for instance, like then overwhelm no longer is a play, and he's still kind of like you can keep the defensive tools on him. He's still going to kick. It'll essentially always double the clock that he would normally have had. I mean, that could be an interesting change. But I don't want to go too deep into the theory crafting of how to change Lee Sin. But what I will say is that he unlike other champions kind of does too many things, right? Like he has the defensive capabilities, obviously with barrier. He has offensive capabilities that kind of speak for themselves, but he also has the kind of like offensive plus defensive capabilities of challenger, where he can do it all, right? And there's it's just like the cost thing. Yes, that I think him being at 5 cost is correct. I don't even mind the stats. I think the biggest thing is he either needs he needs to be more easily interacted with or more efficiently interacted with. There's I think part of that is certainly deck building, but the deck building question or the deck building answer can only go so far, because it's not like you can't you just can't lean your deck too heavily towards one strategy, at least not on ladder, because then you're just going to get run over by the other strategies. Right now, the rock paper scissors is like heavy aggro. There's a couple of different flavors of that. War Mothers or Shadow Isles Freljord control, and there's a couple of flavors of that. And then Lee Sin, there's a couple of different flavors of that. And I think that paradigm is actually a pretty cool paradigm. And then in between those, you've got other decks that fit somewhere in between those, and they do better or worse against other things. And I think that's a really cool, paradigm of the rock, paper, scissors. It's just like right now, if you have Lee Sin as scissors, that's like, well, you really need to, even if you're playing rock, you need to tech rock into being like even more rock than before, which to just go even with scissors, and then paper just runs you over, right? So it's tough. It's really tough to get to a balanced state in general.
Yeah, and I think another one of the reasons it's really difficult is like Lee Sin he's become a combo champion, and people innately do not like losing to combo.
Oh my god, people hate it.
Like the feeling of when he gets played, all the time he gets played and I'll just say, okay, I've lost the game. And like a lot of people feel that way. And like that's not a good feeling. It leads to a lot of those non-games that Magic the Gathering is famous for, where the feeling of losing to a combo deck, or like the feeling of I can't win this game anymore, just sucks. Like it's not great. So he's like, even if he had like a less than 50% win rate, if he was exactly the same as he is now, he would still get like shit on
Yeah.
just as much. Like people would still complain about him
Yep.
just as much.
Yeah. I think you're 100% correct about that, which is kind of like, and I get that feeling, and I don't want those feelings to happen all the time for people.
Mhm.
On the flip side, like, I really like a game where I can play a combo game, you know?
Yeah.
I
I love combo decks.
like, I want to be able to play a combo deck. Now, does the combo deck also need to have built-in protection for itself in the champion? Even though I want the card to be powerful and I'm going to be playing it, I would say objectively probably not.
Yeah. He's way too easy to protect.
He's super easy to protect, and this is even its own tangent, but whatever. Another point that I think was correctly brought up, I don't know if people's suggestion for an answer is correct, but the point that was correctly brought up is that in Runeterra right now, removal in general, removal is too expensive, and interaction that saves units is too strong. I mean, look at the difference between a Pale Cascade and Vengeance, something like that. I mean, those are the two, or even just something that gives
Bastion and
barrier.
Vengeance.
Bastion and Vengeance, exactly. Like the disparity there is huge, and I think people want there to be Doomblade type effects, which if you're unfamiliar with that, it's just a 2-mana destroy a creature essentially. They want that to exist.
Black creature.
Right. That's true. We'll go with murder. 3-mana destroy
like
creature.
It'd be a non-Shadow Isles creature is what it'd be in this game.
Right. People are calling for that, and I don't think Riot is going to do that given the current philosophy of how champions are. Champions are supposed to be more powerful. They're supposed to be unique, and they're supposed to be sort of at the forefront of deck strategies and deck builds. I think, there is if the meta for whatever reason was, which it was very early on for a little bit, was just like, don't run champions. Just nothing but, if every deck was just like, yeah, I'll run like Elise because it's a good 2-drop, but like I'm never running a champion for the sake of it being a champion. Riot would actively change that. They would buff champions. They would provide more synergies because that is the core philosophy, as far as I can understand it, for Runeterra. So
you can't have a game that has the champions from League of Legends that people have this huge emotional attachment to have them all just be vanilla, useless creatures, right?
Right. Or like just killed by everything. Like you want, I mean, think about, just not even from the gameplay perspective, just think about the amount of work that goes into a champion, not from even from the design and whatnot, but like the animations and stuff. Like all of those are assets that people put time and work and effort into, and like if you're playing it, you want those things to happen, right? You want to get the value out of those things happening. You want to see
each one having 800 voice lines with every other
game. You don't want it to be like, well, every game I play my Garen on 5, and then I play my Garen for 5, and then immediately 2-mana Doomblade comes out and kills it. Like, destroy target champion card, if they printed that at 2 mana, like even
it'd be in every single deck. It's a staple,
right?
Like,
or even like 4 mana, right?
Yeah,
it's too like. I mean, maybe I mean, we see cards like Sunburst, which sees almost no play. Another one of those cards that I called correctly. People were saying that was going to be really good for some reason. But and it sees a little bit of play, but like,
it's 0 to 1 copies in a lot of decks.
Yeah, in Lux decks it sees play. But it's just not like, the long and short of it, without going any deeper. The long and short of it is that Riot and Legends of Runeterra benefits from champions being in play and people playing champions and people interacting with champions. I don't think we want to see a world where there is nothing but two mana and 3 mana removal spells, because I think that, you know, unlike Magic, where that is the case a lot of times, you want to see, like, you don't want it to get to a point where both players have nothing in play and no cards in hand. It's just a top deck war. Like, think about it. How many times have you been in that situation in Runeterra? It's not zero for sure. I've definitely had that happen a number of times, but like, it's not like that nearly as much as it is in Magic, where it's like you're just like, oh, top deck, play land, okay, go. Like, you want there to be interaction, you want there to be things in play, you want there to be champions in play and being impactful. So
doing stuff.
So I do think that line of like, oh, we'll just print cheaper removal, I think you got to think a little bit more about that before you move in on it. To sum up for Lee Sin, like, change something about his like protection in general. I don't know if it's making the barrier harder, or maybe it's not barrier, maybe I don't know. But he could stand to use some more changes. Until then, I'm going to be using him on the ladder and continuing to play him.
Yeah,
I love
like,
the deck.
if you're like, the card gets a lot of hate, but like, I don't think you should hate on people for playing it, because it's a thing that exists in the game, and if you're trying to win, like, play the stuff that's good.
Right.
I feel like there's too many people that like to trash on people for playing good decks, when it's like, you could be playing the good deck too if it means that much to you, right?
There was a tweet from someone in the Magic the Gathering community that I could not have retweeted harder. It was hating on net decking is not a personality, and I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
Okay, Make It Rain plus obviously Misfortune's Make It Rain, going from 2 to 3 mana. What do you think about this one?
I think it's more fair mana cost for the spell and the effect.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah,
think it's fine.
I agree. I think it
was, so Make It Rain was strong, but I think I personally thought it was fine that it was strong. Like, I feel like there should be staple strong cards in regions. Like, I thought it was okay, but the big problem is, if you're playing Bilgewater, you kind of have to play Make It Rain, because it's just really good, and like, you always just slam it. I was fine with it, but I know a lot more vocal, angry people weren't. I think it is fair at 3, but I thought it was okay at 2.
Yeah, I think it was. I mean, I always, again, just because the decks I played were usually either aggro or Lee Sin, both of which are hurt by Make It Rain. So I'm happy to see this change. Yeah, I do think that Bilgewater in general has a lot of really good spells. I think and a lot of really good options in general. And this, I think I don't necessarily like let's just make the best thing worse, because that's kind of what they did with War Chefs, and I don't necessarily like. I think I would rather have seen more 2 mana 2/3s with positive effects that contested with War Chefs than, well, by War Chefs, you've been retired as a 1/3 for 2 mana, which is not really, especially with an aggressive leaning card, it's just not where you want to be. I think for the most part, Make It Rain is going to see similar amounts of play. Of course, making it 3 mana does make it interesting with, oh God, what's the card? The 4 mana Piltover and Zon card from Call the Mountain. Recombobulator, the spell creates stuff whenever you cast a 3, or it gets pumped up whenever you cast Tri-beam. Improbulator. Yeah, Tri-beam Improbulator. It's better with it. This makes it better, right?
This is a strict buff.
It's a strict buff. Long and short, I think in the early turns, this makes Make It Rain much worse.
What it hurts the most the aggressive decks that run it versus like the more control decks that run it. Like the pirate aggro decks and whatnot get hurt by this a lot more.
Yeah, I think it definitely does, because like, you're not really banking 3 spell mana a lot of times, and if you are, you want to use it on a fervor. I mean, comparing this to fervor now, it's like, oof, I'm really not So she says you're already in that in Noxus Bilgewater. You're already running a lot of times Fervor and Death's Hand at 3. It's like, yeah, you're really getting glutted up for 3. So I actually kind of would have liked them to nerf something that wasn't the mana cost for that reason specifically. Maybe it's only 2. Maybe it's only 2. What if it was 2 mana? I mean, getting rid of the randomness kind of changes the flavor of the spell in general, but if it was just 2 mana, deal 2 damage, you choose the targets, but it can't go face. It's only to units.
Yeah.
That actually might be better, but
even if they made it to where like it was deal 3 damage or a damage to 3 different units, that could be a buff to it depending on like if it doesn't hit the Nexus, that is a buff for everything I play it in.
right.
Because I always want it to kill 3 things.
Right.
So, yeah, I think you can't change the targets very well.
It's, I mean,
okay, it deals 2 damage to 1 damage to 2 different targets and 0 damage to another target.
Okay, so it still counts as a target for Ezreal. It just doesn't do anything.
Yep, and if you have spell damage,
that that's true too. What if it was 2 mana, deals 0 to 4 different things?
Yeah, these are the like things that would happen totally in Magic, by the way. Like they don't care about how complicated a card gets. So
right, you can
something.
Yeah, you can make a card as complicated as you want. I feel like, I mean, they made those types of cards in Hearthstone too, where it's like 2 mana 4/5 silent, or 2 mana 4/5 can't attack. It's like, well, you need to think about how you're gonna get value from this. And they can make it rain like that. I mean, that probably goes against. I mean, it could work because barrels and stuff, but they probably wouldn't make the champion spell that. But
it's someone was talking about that KDA card that like gives all of your dudes all the keywords that all your dudes have. Like play that with barrels, so then all of your guys are immobile.
I was actually wondering that. Do you get the negative effects too?
I think so. Like you should. God. It's a keyword.
Well,
so just give everyone immobile.
I do agree that is how the card reads, but sometimes they like will shortcut
wording.
Yeah. There's definitely scuffed wording, but they'll also like shortcut so that a lot of times it works the way that you want it to, or it should. Air quotes work, but I don't know. I'm like looking over at Discord and I see all these notifications and I'm like, oh wait, we literally told people to tag us. Why am I so stupid? Why would I ever do this? Okay, chat is saying you don't get negative keywords.
No, this is that's just a strict nerf to the card then.
Yeah, I mean,
it's just strictly bad.
It's real bad, real bad.
If I can't give Garen immobile, what's the point of playing it?
True. Let's see. Was there anything else that we wanted to talk about? We did KDA. We did patch. Oh, there is one thing I wanted to allude to.
Allude.
I am currently finalizing some details, but next week's show may be on a different day at a different time, potentially, but will also include a very special guest.
Very special guest.
Very special. It's the third member of the third new member of KDA. No, it's
Tom Mother.
Okay, it's not Tom Kench either.
It's not Tom Kench. Even better than Tom Kench.
Yes. As soon as it gets finalized, I will put it in Discord and on Twitter and all that good stuff. So definitely keep an eye out on that. You can follow us on Twitter at Runeterrable. And, of course, discord.me/Runeterrable Radio if you're not already there. We're also coming up on the end of the month, which means newsletter for Patreon over at patreon.com/Runeterrable Radio. Last month, wrote a piece about the origin of the podcast. This week, we're going to have a piece from de facto community manager of Runeterrable Radio, Cosign Joe. And I will likely be putting some other tidbits in there as well. So definitely keep an eye out for that. Saucy, anything else that you wanted to talk about while we're on here before we get going?
I don't think so. I don't think so. Nothing I can think about.
Yeah, we got more from this patch than we were expecting. Oh, I guess that is kind of. I'll give a little bit because I know, Saucy, you haven't had a chance to play with the new stuff yet.
I haven't yet.
I have played a couple of games in in the KDA board. We did get the event, so it's very much like the Spirit Blossom event in terms of the progression track and whatnot. There's less like, give your opponent 58 puff caps and more like just play games and win games. That's how you get the little crystals or whatever.
I'm out.
Yeah, I need these crazy challenge 800 units to get.
Yep.
If I'm not doing those, then no, it's literally I think it's
make 300 Garens immobile.
There are some, but there's also like a repeating quest that literally it's just either win. I think it's either win 2 or 3 matchmaking games or 5 bot games. So like you can literally just grind the whole event by doing that. But
Sweet.
the board, I will say, it is a premium board. It's an epic cost. I think it was 1,290 coins. I don't know how much that equates out to. Probably
$3,000 US.
It's somewhere between 10 and 3,000 US dollars, I think. If you are someone who likes to spend money on cosmetics, I highly recommend this board. Hashtag not an ad, so I don't have to say this. I'm not contractually obligated to say this. I'm saying this because I bought the board.
But I am. So if you have money,
if you're someone who doesn't spend money on boards but you are thinking about it and needed a bad influence to tell you to spend money on the board, I am that one. That you will not be upset about buying this board. It is very cool. It has the actual KDA music, the backtrack of it, or at least like a mix of it playing. And there's 3 different, like there's a little dial on the board and you can change which song is playing. And it's also interactable. So I'm just saying it's a pretty great board is what I will.
I might need
that's
to
what
see.
I'll say.
You've kind of sold me because I don't care about the card backs because I already have the best one in the game, and the same with my Guardian. I always want to call it a little legend. My Guardian.
When are we getting a Chonk Guardian? By the way, come on.
Ooh,
Come on, Riot. Put
Riot,
Chonk in Runeterra, you cowards.
Because the Dragon Dude is basically Umbra, right? It's pretty much the same dude. So we need a Chonk. We could use a Chonk.
We could definitely use a Chonk. I mean, I think what they're actually doing, they're not going to make Chonk they're not going to make Chonk a Guardian because Chonk is going to be a champion in League of Legends.
Oh yeah, guaranteed. They should make all the little legends as champions in Legends of Runeterra.
At least Chonk, and start with Chonk, please.
At least Chonk and Umbra.
Also, Chonk. We'll go Chonk and Umbra. And also plushies for both, please. Thank you.
I do want both a Chonk and Umbra plush.
I will say
I tweeted it right.
Yeah, I will say I do want a Chonk plush, but I really don't want them to make like a giant like $300 like life size one because I will definitely buy it.
Like if it's a beanbag chair size. Like how could you?
Oh my God, beanbag chair Chonk. Oh my God,
I'd buy it. I'd replace this chair right now.
Yeah, I would throw my Herman Miller chair in the garbage and buy and get the Chonk beanbag chair and stream from that.
We'll ruin our backs for Chonk.
Oh my God, they're the
worth
worst. They're comfortable for exactly 14.3 minutes, and then you feel like you're going to snap in half.
You instantly feel like after 14 minutes or so.
Yeah.
Your back literally breaks.
Yep. It's bad, but it's worth it for the Chonkster.
You know, beanbag chairs were designed by chiropractors, right?
Yeah, for job security.
To bring them some more business. Yeah. It's like water beds. Like those were definitely designed by chiropractors.
Yeah. Oh boy. But is neither here nor there. We're not even going on. Well, yes, put Chonk in Legends of and Umbra. Wait, no, Umbra is kind of already in Legends. Put Chonk in Legends of Runeterra, you cowards. Is all I have to say.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
do it. Okay. The only other thing is that apparently, if you're listening to this on Podcast World, it's happening today, the 29th. If you're listening live, it's tomorrow. There's a Twitch Rivals for League of Legends and Legends of Runeterra. Literally was just announced today. So
most last minute thing.
Yeah, I don't know why they're doing you know what? Let's not build up hype for this. Let's just do it.
Let's just do it.
That's
I
fine.
still have something to do at work now.
I'm
Wait, what?
interested. Wait, what?
What?
It's literally imperative for my job that I watch it. So
Same, technically, kind of, a little bit.
yeah, it definitely is. But yeah, so check that out as well. The Twitch Rivals events for Legends of Runeterra have always been cool, and fun to watch. So definitely take a look at that. But I think that's gonna be it for this episode. Thanks everyone for listening and watching. Saucy, where can people find you on the internet when you're not here?
God, blindsided me with that question. I was
Huh,
ready.
I
You
know.
can find me on the internet. I'm just Saucy Mailman everywhere. Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, all those places, or just saucymailman.com is my website.
It is the website. Yes.
Yeah.
You can find me on Twitter at @the_Blevins. You can also find me on Discord. Discord.me/Runeterrable Radio is where we are at all the time. The show is on Twitter at Runeterrable. Patreon.com/Runeterrable Radio as well if you want to get in on that, those sweet rewards, as well as the newsletter, which is going to be coming up. So
Truth.
that is going to be it. Thanks everyone for listening and watching, but we'll be back next week with a special guest to talk about some more Legends of Runeterra.